Hey, everybody. Welcome to Robbie Rants Live here on Pop Culture Philosophers. How is everybody doing? I hope you've had a fantastic weekend. I hope you're excited for a fantastic week coming up. I sure am. So how is everybody doing? Once you jump in here, let me know that you're here. What's up, MN? What's up, Stephanie? How are you all doing? Today, we're going to be chatting live about comic books, pop culture, movies, all that and more. We're going to be looking at this upcoming week's comic books, things that I'm going to cover in the weekly comic book review. Some very exciting things, like also a little bit of show and tell at the end of the program. It is Show and Tell Sunday, so stay tuned for that. What's up, Jesse? Say what? How are y'all doing? What's up, Roman? So I'll go ahead and address it before it gets addressed. Cowboys lost. Season over. Lost last night to the Rams. You know, it happens. It happens. Eagles just lost. So NFC Championship's going to be the Saints and the Rams. So there you go, right? What's up, Reggie? What's up, Monty? How are y'all doing? Excited for a fantastic Robbie Rants Live. A nice chat with everybody tonight. This is the first live stream of 2019, I believe, isn't it? I think so. What's up, Tom? What's up, Atari? So we're going to start off with looking at this upcoming week's comics. Some really, really exciting stuff, Stephanie. Some really, really exciting stuff. I'm glad to be of service, Roman. Very much so. Before we get started, I want to invite everybody who's not already on the PCP Army, our group on Facebook, to jump on there, type in PCP Army, and join us. Lots of fun we had there. Absolutely. So let's start. Look, what's up? It's S squared. I'm just glad that if the Cowboys got to go out, the Eagles went out too. And of course, the Patriots won. So the Patriots and the Chiefs and the Saints and the Rams. So there you go. That's what, I'll tell you this, though. I'm really, really happy about the season that the Cowboys had, because we started off pretty bad and did not look good for a while. So the fact that we got in there and even won a postseason game was very exciting for me. But who do you think is going to win? I don't even know who I'd want to win out of the four. Maybe the Rams, I guess, because, I don't know. It's like that. I don't know. It's like the idea of like the only man that can kill me, though. I don't know. The only man that should win in life is the man that can kill me. I have no idea. That makes no sense. I was getting something mixed up in my head, like a Ron Swanson quote or something. Anyway. Yeah, I'll pull for the Rams. How about that? Sure. Whatever. Who cares? Football's over. It's over. Thank you, buddy, for following me on Twitter. If you haven't followed me on Twitter, anybody, you can do so at the Rockin Robbie. So there you go. We got a Pats fan in here. It's the one team I do not want to win. No offense. And more power to you if they win. I hope you're happy about it. It may be the case. I don't know. Those are four really, really good teams. This is one of those, I'm just going to say this. This is one of those seasons where it seems like it's all shaken out to where like maybe the four best teams wound up in the, the finals, basically. I don't know. Drew Brees is amazing. Drew Brees is amazing, right? I mean, come on. Who's going to argue that? I'm not going to at all. Not at all. An exciting comic book week coming up here, guys. We're going to start off with looking at IDW. What is coming up from IDW? Dick Tracy, Dead or Alive, #3. I'm excited for this just because it's not the best comic, but it's reminiscent of the Dick Tracy action figures, which I love from back in the day. There's one right there, for instance. And also that movie with Warren Beatty. That was really cool. So I love Mike Allred on the inking, doing the writing as well. Laura Allred on the colors, and Rich Tommaso doing the penciling. I really, really like that book. It's a nice little nostalgia trip. Judge Dredd, Toxic #3. Lodger #3. My Little Pony, Nightmare Nights #4. Sonic the Hedgehog #12. Star Trek versus Transformers #4. The final issue. Shredder in Hell starts this week. That seems really, really neat. And I don't typically read some of the TMNT stuff right now, but I'm definitely going to check that one out. It's got a really gnarly Eastman cover as well. And Uncle Scrooge, My First Millions, kind of like an Uncle Scrooge year one. So final issue of that is out. That's what's coming out from IDW Comics. What about Dark Horse? There's an Avatar comic book that nobody asked for. Avatar, Su Tei's Path, #1 is out this week. Death Orb #4 is out this week. And that's about it from Dark Horse. So a light week for Dark Horse. There is a director's cut of Black Hammer #1. So if you ever wanted to check out just the first issue of Black Hammer and found it difficult to find, there is something right there for you. A new director's cut. And fans of Black Hammer, you might want to check that one out as well. From Dynamite, we got Battlestar Galactica Classic #3. Elvira, Mistress of the Dark #4. James Bond Origin #5. And that's about it from Dynamite. But let's see what Boom Studios has. They've got Adventure Time, Marcy and Simon #1. That is out this week. Black Badge #6. Firefly #3. Yep, that's it. You know, this month, I believe the new Buffy reboot comic book thing comes out. And I'm very, very excited for that. Dan Moore on the artwork. Yeah. I'm excited for that. All right, before we get to the big three, we also got Baby Teeth #14 from Aftermath Comics, Aftershock Comics. Captain Ginger #4 from Ahoy. Dark Arc #13 from Cullen Bunn and Wando. Shadow Man #11 from Valiant. And Walk Through Hell #7 by Garth Ennis and Company. So that's what we got coming up from some of the smaller presses this week. Let me catch up on y'all's comments. Eric got outcoached again. Rams off. Lyman said they knew 90% of the time what Dallas was definitely going to do. I can feel that. Absolutely. Absolutely. I think Dak should have been more of a factor, or should I say Dak's legs should have been more of a factor. But I've been saying that all year long. I want to read Batman again, but I don't want to be confused on a storyline. Which book will be easier to follow so I won't be scratching my head? Right now, a good place to jump into if you just want to start reading Batman, I would suggest the new issues of Detective Comics by Peter Tomasi and Doug Mahnke. A fresh start, new story, familiar characters, big events, fun, action, good mystery that's being built up. I would recommend that. Stephanie, I loved Batman this week. I loved Batman this week. This is the time, by the way, where I'm supposed to tell you guys to smash that like button. But Detective Comics is what I would recommend for someone just trying to get into something new. But yeah, the new issue of Tom King's Batman was really, really good. I liked it. What's up, Nelson? Are you liking Titans any better? Yeah, Shredder in Hell looks awesome. Will I add the new Red Sonja to my pull list? Isn't Mark Russell doing that? I don't know. I don't typically read Red Sonja. I might read the first issue and see what's going on with it. Yeah, that Black Hammer director's cut should be cool. I don't know if I'm familiar with how Dark Horse does their director's cuts, but usually what it is you get a little bit of script and you get a little bit of the original penciled artwork or something like that. I'm drinking Monkey Knot. It's not Monkey Nut. It's Monkey Knot, like an astronaut, but a monkey. Where are you from? It may not be available there. It may not. Yeah, Tom King's been getting a lot of flack lately from some people about his Batman run. He's been getting it the entire duration, but it seems to have intensified. I was uneasy about his run for a good like 20 issues of it, but I really, really came around on Tom King's Batman run, and I think he's doing some really cool stuff with the character. I think people don't have the patience sometimes for Tom King's style of writing, where it's like, you know, give me a chance, see where we're going. I think that's what's going on with Batman right now, especially because after he found out about his father maybe being around and all that kind of stuff. After that, the stories haven't really been making sense, and it doesn't follow up that cliffhanger. But I think it does make sense. I think some wonky stuff's going on. So, but that was the last issue with Professor Pig was a really good spotlight on how Batman thinks, and I really, really liked it because of that. I don't know if they're in. I know they're in some Georgia towns. Interesting. What's up, Hammer Time? How you doing? I don't know what's in the new omnibus right now. Where does it start? Does it start with the Kurt Busiek stuff? If it's the Kurt Busiek stuff, it's actually pretty good. And also the Brian Wood stuff is pretty good. And that's pretty much all I read. I've never really been the biggest Conan fan. And I'm not in general not a big fantasy fan. Some fantasy I really, really like. But that kind of Conan swords fantasy type thing, I don't know. It's just not usually my type of thing. But that being said, the Kurt Busiek stuff, at least the first like 12 issues that I read, were really, really good. And the Brian Wood stuff, I read the entire duration of his run. That was really, really good. Oh, yeah, Stephanie. Tom King's Batman's a huge, huge thing. Now, Batman's going to sell no matter what. And I think that's one of the reasons why people like really have such an entitlement to voice their displeasure in that book in particular, is because so many people are going to buy Batman no matter what. Now, if you don't like Batman, I think Detective Comics is going to be your style. And I think it has been your style. If you don't like the Bat family, then that sucks. But right now, Detective is focused on Bruce again, and that's pretty cool. I really liked all that Tynion did with that title, and I really also liked what Brian Hill did, which was basically a setup for Batman and the Outsiders, which hasn't happened yet and will happen eventually. But it's a big seller. And this is a thing, like, because I remember Rob Liefeld and Scott Snyder had a beef one time, and it was over this idea. And it was like Rob Liefeld's like, I think this was during the time that he was trying to get Hawk and Dove and Hawkman and Grifter going in the New 52, you know, or something. And he was complaining about how hard it is to get a title to work and blah, blah, blah. And Scott Snyder is only being able to sell Batman just because it's Batman. There's nothing that Scott's doing to make that title sell that well. It's just that it's Batman. And there is an element of truth to that, but you also got to have a really, you know, Batman will always be a big seller, but you also got to have a really, really good run. I think a lot of people, at least from my experience at my store, is that a lot of people are split on it. You know, some people don't like it. Some people didn't really, you know, once things got a little muddy and unclear to them, they just jumped off of it. Some people continue to read it and just complain about it, and other people read it and absolutely adore and love it. So it's all personal taste, but it's a huge seller. It really, really is. All right, Nelson says, it's definitely not Wolfman Perez's Titans, and it's more of a loose adaptation of the Titans comics. It's okay. If I compare it to the Marvel Netflix shows, it would be average. I really like the show. I've never really been that big of a fan of the Titans characters. And when they first showed that trailer with the F Batman bit and everything, it just seemed so silly, right? But I really like that show. I love the pace. I love the tone. It's violent, but the violence is real and grounded and has consequence. And I like the story they're telling, especially with Grayson in particular. Raven's interesting to me. Beast Boy's interesting to me. I loved the Doom Patrol episode. I just really liked it. My only big fault with and they made me like Hawk and Dove, and that's never happened. But I really like the pace, the tone. I love the music in that show. The music is so, so good. So good. Yeah, man, the music stuff is good. I like the music stuff. Murder Falcon is awesome. Murder Falcon is great. Murder Falcon is just so fun. And that was a nice little twisty twist they put there in issue number 4. I really liked that. Thought it was good. Yes, Stephanie, Marvel Presents is coming back. I don't know if it's for a mini series or if it's going to be an ongoing. I think it might be a mini. They're doing a bunch of like throwback titles this year for the 80th anniversary of Marvel Comics. And so they're doing that one, and I think it's going to be telling a story about the Invaders, and it's going to involve Wolverine, I believe. And Tom, the only reason why you've never seen me review Deathstroke is because I don't read Deathstroke. When the Rebirth started, I read the first couple issues, like 2 or 3, and I was really pumped for that book because I love like Christopher Priest's Quantum and Woody, and I love his Black Panther work. But I just didn't really get into it that much. I hear good things, and I've been meaning to get into it and read all of it in one big chunk, but I just haven't gotten around to it yet. Well, I would totally recommend Detective right now. Right now, Tom King is like 60 plus issues into an overarching story. So that will be a little bit more difficult to get into it a little bit, but Detective is a great jumping on point right now. Yeah, Stephanie, you're right. If you're talking about it, then something's working, right? And so that's something you want to do. And indeed, the Invaders, yeah, man, yeah. The Invaders can have some cool stories told about them. They really can, and they have in the past. Reggie, I'm right there with you. I really like the DC Universe app. Not as many comics. Their selection's a little weird. I don't like how they have like just the first issue or 3 sometimes and nothing else. They're just trying to sell you, right? But at the same time, there are like big chunks of comic book runs on there that are, tied into what they're doing in movies and television and things like that. Titans was good. I really liked it. I thought it was a really good, strong debut for that streaming service. I'm pumped for Doom Patrol and Swamp Thing and even Stargirl. I haven't watched any of the new Young Justice, but I have sat down and watched like the first like 4 or 5 episodes of season 1 so I can get caught up. And I really, really have enjoyed that show so far. I thought it was really, really good. Most overrated comic book writers. Most overrated comic book writers. For me, it's Robert Kirkman, but not trying to talk smack about him. We're people that like his work. I also do not like Soul that much. I like Rosenberg, though. I really, really do. Especially when he's on the right book. Punisher's the right book for him. I'd like to see him do something, though, with a little bit more oomph and heart to it, like 4 kids walk into a bank. So I'd like to see something more like that from him. Yeah, I can't wait, Ruben, to see season 2 of Titans because we got cheated out of the season finale. That's my biggest complaint about Titans is we got cheated out of the season finale. I'm not going to spoil anything for Nelson, but the final episode, which was supposed to be episode 12, they pulled, and that's going to be season 1's or season 2's opening episode. That kind of bothered me. Harrow County is Cullen Bunn, I believe, isn't it? I think so. Let's look at what Image Comics has coming out. Yeah, Tyler Crook is the artist. I'm pretty sure Cullen Bunn does the writing on that one, though. I hear really good things about Invincible. I've only ever read the first 2 trade paperbacks of that. From Image Comics this week, we've got Burnouts, number 5. The final issue of Days of Hate, number 12, is out this week. The Return of Deadly Class, number 36, because the first episode debuts on Sci-Fi Channel this Wednesday. So also be on the lookout for that. Evolution, number 13. Farmhand has its first trade paperback out. That's a really, really good book. Gideon Falls, number 10. Always an exciting new comic book day when a new issue of Gideon Falls is out. My comic book of 2018. Isola, number 6. The Return of Isola. Oh, that's awesome. That book has got amazing artwork. Yeah, not too long ago, earlier I said I'm not really that big into fantasy comics, but I'm super pumped about Isola and Free of Middle West. Really liked that one. New World has a trade paperback out this week. Outpost Zero, number 6, is out this week. Spawn Kills Everyone 2, number 2, is out this week. The Warning, number 3, and Wicked and the Divine, number 41. Now we'll jump over to DC in just a minute. Young Justice Season 1 and 2 are great. Got to wait until it comes out on Netflix Canada to watch Season 3. Speaking of Young Justice, it was like my favorite DC book. The only comic I liked more was Die. Die was pretty cool. I love the artwork in Die. I'm just not as into like RPG and D&D, so I guess I may have missed some things or something. Young Justice was really good and may have been one of the most fun and fantastic comics that Bendis has done in DC yet. There's something Charles Soule did that I really did like, though, comic book wise. What was it? It was none of his Wolverine stuff. I did not like that. It wasn't his Daredevil. Oh, it's Darth Vader. I liked Darth Vader. I thought his Darth Vader was actually pretty good. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a Kamala Khan Easter egg in Captain Marvel. That would make a lot of sense to me. There was a Miles, Easter egg in Spider-Man Homecoming, so it makes sense. I read the first issue of Rose way back when, and it didn't resonate with me, and I haven't gone back to it since. 7 crises. Name them now. Well, my thoughts on the matter, and it seems like a lot of people are kind of along the same lines. Crisis on Multiple Earths. That's the first meeting of the JSA and the JLA, right? So let's count that one maybe. So there's that. There's Crisis on Infinite Earths. There's 0 Hour. There's Infinite Crisis. There is Final Crisis. There's Flashpoint. And there's Metal. Those are my 7, if I had to guess. How do you feel about people letting continuity get in the way of enjoying Young Justice #1? It was infuriating to watch last week's YouTube reviewers tear it apart. I really liked Young Justice. I thought it was great. I loved the original Young Justice by Peter David and Todd Knock. I loved that comic. And so me and Brooks recently revisited it on a Comics Revisited. And I share my love for that book and those characters on that video. So I am well versed in the continuity. And I know what's been going on with those characters since New 52 and onward, right? And I had no problem with it. Like, people were saying, like, because, like, I even said, like, there are some questions Bendis is going to have to answer. He's going to answer them. Where has Superboy been? How does Tim Drake remember all of them? But at the same time, remember this. Ever since DC Rebirth #1, that one-shot came out, a lot of stuff from the past has slowly been creeping its way. A lot of the pre-Flashpoint stuff has been slowly creeping its way back into the DC universe. So ultimately, all you really have to say is Dr. Manhattan did it, right? But I think there's going to be an explanation. I think that Superboy was, this is something that I've really thought, like a theory I read that I thought was really neat, that Superboy was in the future with the Legion or something like that, right? I don't know. I think I thought it was fine. I thought it seemed like it's in continuity. We still don't know, like, I don't know. Like, there's a lot of issues. Like, not too long ago in Detective Comics, Tim Drake was like, who's Connor? Maybe those memories slowly came back to him. Maybe there's something we're missing. There's going to be a flashback. There's going to be an explanation. In this day and age, when comic book stories are 6 to 7 issues long sometimes, to just judge it all on the first issue and not wait for the explanation, or not even to assume that an explanation is going to happen, it just seems silly to me. We should all be used to this stuff. Stephanie, I don't consider Identity Crisis one of the crisis events that Bendis is referencing. The 7 crises things comes from Bendis's Young Justice #1, in which he states there's been 7 crisis events. And Identity Crisis is a crisis in name only, not a reality shifting, changing big event. And that's specifically what Bendis is referring to, were crisis events that reshaped reality. Let us not also forget that Metal changed some things too. Just a little bit, but it changed some things. Things are ironing out. And it seems mostly like DC's just taking the approach of, let's bring back what worked and that we forsook. Let's bring it back, and let's just kind of slow roll it in and see what happens. But yes, there are just also a lot of anti-Bendis people. So there are people that do not like Brian Michael Bendis. And there are people that do not like Tom King. And no matter what, they're going to have that opinion of their work. Well, you got to trust Superboy. How can you not trust him with that leather jacket? But do notice he's got spikes on that leather jacket now. Maybe you shouldn't trust him. Nelson, I'm right there with you. I think Convergence instead of Crisis on Multiple Earths might work, because Crisis on Multiple Earths did not change reality. It just introduced the concept of the multiverse to the Justice League outside of characters like the Flash and such. So actually, I think you're more on point with that. I think Convergence fits the bill a lot better than the original Crisis on Multiple Earths does. because there were a bunch of those little series. To me, Dwayne, it does not matter if my books have a little bend on the corner. In fact, when I buy really old school, very, very high dollar books, I prefer them to have bends on the corners because it makes them cheaper. But no, if I got a book that's got a nick on it, I mean, I'm a retailer, so I understand what they look like when they come out of those boxes. So I understand that the perfect comic it's not something I'm after. But I'm not really a seller. I'm a reader, an avid reader, historian, and slight collector. But yeah, I'm not. That's me personally, not like that. If that's your thing, if you guys if you like finding the most pristine thing, that's fine. That's cool. But don't drive yourself crazy over it, right? Comic books are for reading, not for like meticulously trying to find the most pristine, perfect version to like, I don't know. What are we, the National Archives or something? Do you think DC as a whole is saying screw continuity and letting the writers do whatever they want? I don't care either way as long as they state what they're doing. There may be an element to that, meaning like this doesn't matter if it ties into things. I think it's crazy. To me, the most important thing as far as ongoing mainstream superhero comic books is not continuity, but quality. I take a good story over an impeccable connection to continuity. I like references and continuity and things like that. That's something the superhero fans that read comics grew up to love. It's one of our favorite things about the MCU, and seeing those characters interact and like little Easter eggs and teases and things like that. So I like that stuff. When I was growing up reading comics and they would like reference something that happened and be like, check out Thor number blah, blah, blah for that. I love stuff like that. To some people, that's a little like disconcerting. It's almost like an exclusionary tactic. Like, well, I don't want to feel like I got to read like 40 years of comics to understand what's going on. And I understand that too. Most important to me is a good story. Continuity comes second. And if it doesn't work in continuity, let us not forget that Marvel always had continuity snafus all the time. That's why the No Prize existed. They would depend actually on their fans to notice these discrepancies in continuity and offer an explanation for them. And then other writers would come in and fix things and retcon things and make things work out and iron out a little bit better. With an evolving sliding timeline like we have with comics, I think there's only so much you can do, right? Only so much. That being said, basically they told Snyder, tell the Justice League story you want. It doesn't matter. We'll make it work. And I think they're making it work. Identity Crisis is a really good, hard-hitting personal story. I like it a lot. And Bendis is a bald delight. Bendis is one of my favorite bald comic book writers. I also like Brad Meltzer and Tom King. Brian Azzarello at times. What's up, David Hatch? How are you doing? King, Bendis, and Slott get the most undeserved hate. I have low-key stopped watching many YouTubers because the hate negativity was too much. They do get a lot of hate in particular. It's because Dan Slott's a very combative personality. That's one of the issues there, I think. I love all three of their works. Exactly. Let's focus on positive reading. Convergence does have major effects because also in Convergence, if you remember, a group of people, including Parallax, went back in time to stop the Crisis on Infinite Earths event from creating that one singular timeline. They went back and stopped that. You remember that? Like they went back and stopped that from happening so that there was always a multiverse or something like that. So lots of weird little things going on there. But it is definitely how we have pre-Flashpoint Superman. And I'm glad how they glossed that all through and merged it in. Because now that's the Superman everybody remembers, and rightly so. These Savage Shores #3 is not on my list this week. There's a third printing for #1, and there's a third printing for Fearscape #1 from Vault Comics this week. So if you've missed those, definitely want to check those out. But Vault Comics does have a history of having Diamond delay their shipments like a week or two. That has happened multiple times. Why are the variants getting so expensive? Variants are getting so expensive because people are buying up what they consider to be the hot variants of the week. They buy them up, they try to get as many as they can, and then they put them up online. And it just recently happened with that Harley Quinn variant. People were selling that for like $25. That's why. That's why the variants are getting expensive. What's up, Comic Sam 18? How you doing? That new criminal book was really good. I really liked that first issue, and I've never read a criminal book, so it worked. It was a story that featured characters from previous runs that I didn't know, but it didn't matter because it just told a good story. What's up, Brett? How you doing? How could I ever my absolute favorite bald writer, Grant Morrison? Thank you. Oh, and Warren Ellis is bald nowadays, isn't he? There's more of them, I'm sure. I'm sure. You know, the typical comic book writer used to be like heavyset dude with the beard and glasses, and now it's like thin dude with a beard. I mean, thin dude with no hair. Of course, you love Identity Crisis. I bet that's bittersweet to you, though, David, being such an elongated man fan like you are. And he is a class act, Stephanie. Absolutely. MN, I could not agree with you more about Morrison's Green Lantern. I love Morrison's Green Lantern. I think it's fantastic. It's not going to be for everybody at all, but that's how Morrison rolls. And I love the ride that Morrison always takes us on. And I love that scene in the last issue where he's like, Earth, you're gamma, you're like under gamma irradiation and you're not thinking clearly, and I'm putting you all on lockdown or something like that. And they're all like, you fascist, you pig. It's just so silly, so fun. The idea of him like going after a god type character, oh man, I've loved it so much. And Liam Sharp's artwork, so wild, so exaggerated, so detailed, beautiful layouts and composition. Fantastic stuff. I'm digging on Morrison's Green Lantern. And Morrison's always a good one to do that kind of stuff with. Listen to some Zeppelin and roll a little something, something. Criminal is all about story. You can pick up any book at any time and enjoy it with no previous knowledge. That is what was promised, and that is what was delivered. Do you guys think it's fair to compare Identity Crisis to Heroes in Crisis? And if yes, which is better? Right now, I think IC is way better than HIC. Well, I don't think I can make that comparison yet until Heroes in Crisis wraps up. It's initially compared to Identity Crisis, meaning that it's a crisis in title, but it's more about a crisis, about a more personal, grounded crisis towards the lives of these heroes, even in their personal lives. So to me, that's where the comparison comes from. Right now, I don't know. We have to see what the end game is for Heroes in Crisis. I like what Tom King is doing so far. I like the mystery he's been building up. But a lot of stuff doesn't make sense, and I think it doesn't make sense on purpose. I think we're dealing with a virtual reality program, or we're dealing with some kind of simulation, something like that. I think there's some crazy stuff that we don't even know yet what is actually happening. Please ask. Okay, David, John wants me to ask you if you get a cut from the Toy Craze Hatchimals by Spin Master Toys. I do not know what he's referencing, but I want to know. Do you get a cut? If not, you should. Morrison's cop story on Lantern is interesting, and the whole cop committing excessive violence has me wanting more. I'm not loving the artwork, but appreciate it for being distinctly different. It's very UK, like 2000 AD type of artwork, and I really, really like it because of that. It really fits. I like the detail that he puts in there. It's super exaggerated, but next time you read one of those issues, pay attention to his composition, and that's where Liam Sharp really, really excels. Those layouts and how he forms those layouts and that page. I really, really think he's doing some of the best stuff out there right now with that. Do I like one book to have 10 variant covers? No. No, not at all. I would prefer. I like DC's thing. They do one variant and it's available to order. Just like the cover A is, it's easily available to retailers to order. Marvel does a lot of things where retailers have to jump through hoops to get variant covers. DC doesn't really do that as much. So I really appreciate that. I like the idea of the variant. I don't like the idea of comic book speculators falsely elevating, inflating the price of something, things like that. There's a lot of stuff that happens when those variants hit and they're really expensive. If you just wait a few weeks, they go right back down. They go right back down. But me personally, I just want a strong cover. Now, the cool thing about a variant is you have an option. Which cover do you want? Me personally, in my life, I typically go with cover A because I like the logo. I like the main artist doing the cover usually, things like that. I want the cover to represent something that's inside the book. It reminds me a little bit more of old school type stuff. I think it's the real Hal. I think that he's been infected with something, though. So we'll see. John David does get a cut from Hatchimals, but unfortunately payment is in the form of Toys R Us stock. David Hatch, you're such a witty guy. Any idea when the Mr. Miracle trade waiting this book for the last year has been torture? Yeah, it drops, is it March or April? Something like that. It's going to be all 12 in one, though. So that's really, really cool. They didn't do like Marvel did with the Vision and do the first 6 issues and then the next 6 issues and then do a whole thing all in one. And Barnes & Noble has like a limited edition like cover for it that looks really, really fire. Really, really fire. You guys were asking me what I thought was more important, story or continuity, or how important continuity is. How important was continuity to Mr. Miracle? I found that book to be incredibly, thoroughly enjoyable, even though it fits in continuity, but how? Where's he at? We still don't have a lot of questions answered. And I'm actually okay with that because those 12 issues weren't about where Mr. Miracle is. The question that was asked and answered in that book is, how do you escape unhappiness? There you go. What's up, comic guy? I just want you to know that you're one of the contributing factors to my decision to grow out my beard immensely far this year in 2019. Yeah, Mr. Miracle's another one of those cool books to read some Zeppelin too. Always wonder how many leftovers of those $20 to $100 variants places end up with. Sometimes they can end up with a lot, but sometimes you can unload a lot all at once. My comic shop, we price incentive covers accordingly to the market value at the time. And like regular variants, like the Harley Quinn variant that was going up for $25, like at my shop, if you tell us that you want Harley Quinn variants and you subscribe to it, you pay $3.99 for it. There are too many variants at Marvel. Variants aren't necessarily the problem. The problem is incentives. Incentive variants. Those are the problem. Those are the ones where like you're making a comic shop do 200% more than they did of a big title on a smaller title to get this other title's cover that everybody's going to want. Or that you got to buy 100 copies or even 1,000 copies of this to get this variant cover. And sometimes the variant cover is just an old media image that they've repurposed, or an old Todd McFarlane image that they've repurposed, things like that. Super silly, super silly. I'm right there with you. Comic book logos are the shiznit. They are so amazing, and I love a good comic book logo. Best superhero comic book logo right now, the Green Lantern. I love it, and it's no surprise to me that it's I almost said Brian Michael Bendis, that it's from a Grant Morrison comic, because Grant Morrison is so involved in the creation of his books, even down to the logo, that he helps design those logos himself sometimes too. And if you know about a little bit about Grant Morrison and what he thinks about sigils and symbols and things like that, it makes sense that he would be that involved. Look at the Batman and Robin logo. And that was one of the best comic book logos I've ever seen, was for that Batman and Robin run he did and the way that they would use like complementary colors to make it pop and stand out. They're doing that with Green Lantern, and it's really, really cool. Some fire colors on that last Green Lantern cover. I'm right there with you, Bawannabes. DC does it great. Cover A, cover B. Retailers can order however many of each cover that they want. That being said, anybody heard all that stuff about Matina? Have you guys heard about that? That John Stewart with a shallow cut beard would probably look pretty dope. I really liked him in Justice League. Was it Justice League Unlimited when he gets the goatee? Poof, dope. I think John Stewart's way too straight edge for me sometimes. So I'd like just the goatee alone gives him a little bit of edge. Sometimes you have trouble picking a cover. Yeah, that's a problem sometimes. I've had a problem picking a cover for every issue of the Green Lantern that's come out, and I bought both. And I'm not typically someone that does that, but man, those variants on Green Lantern have been really nice. That Jay Lee one, that Frank Quitely one. Who did the second one? That was Matina. That one was all right. But yeah, have you guys heard about Matina? Good night, Nelson. Have a good one, man. I hope you enjoy Titans. Exactly. I do have some books where I got some cover A's and some cover B's. Like and then I got like my full DC Rebirth run of Aquaman is all the variants because Middleton was just killing it. I don't know if he needs some black shades. Then he looked too much like Blade. If he had a goatee and shades, give him some tattoos on his head. Yeah, Matina. Let's talk about Matina. Has been accused by multiple artists of swiping their artwork. If you do like a Google search of Matina swipe, I do not remember the artist's name right now. Lee something Long. I don't remember. There's a Phoenix cover this cat did, and then Matina did like a Venomized Phoenix cover. It's the same image, just kind of painted over it or something. There's a Magneto cover. There's a bunch of like artwork out there that artists are claiming Matina swiped from them, and as a direct result of that, two cons, Fan City Expo I think is one of them. Don't quote me on that one. And the MegaCon down in Florida have dropped him completely from their shows. I think this is going to be it's a pretty serious accusation because there's a lot of artists that lightbox and Photoshop and do all kinds of things to help out the flow of their artwork. Matina is a cover artist. He's not crunched for time, trying to tell 20 to 25 pages of a story sequentially. And it seems as if he's directly kind of taking their artwork and there's a Punisher cover and then a Batman Grim Knight cover. I think it's Batman Grim Knight cover. It looks like it may just be the same pose, not a big deal. But if you look at the details on the gun, it's like the exact same thing. It's the exact same image. And it's crazy that a high profile artist would come up like that. And it's a difference between using tools like taking a magazine image or even a screenshot, because like Greg Land does stuff like that. He takes screenshots from the Iron Man movie to help him, make his deadlines on his Iron Man books, or he takes screenshots from Greg Land's big things. He takes screenshots from like pornography magazines and things like that, and like boxes them and stuff like that. That to me is not that cool, but it's not as bad as taking someone's artwork, putting it on your computer and digitally painting directly over it. It's just really, really shady. So we'll see. John, I love those things. I really do, because I don't like them if it's a gimmick. It's obviously a gimmick. I like gimmick covers as much as we were talking about. And that's why I wanted to stress out it wasn't variants so much, but incentive covers that really kind of bothered me the most. But I like sometimes the idea of, ooh, what cover is it going to be? That's kind of neat. The Power Ranger cover in particular was really, really fun, which reminds me, there's this cat, this homie of mine, who has been wanting to trade me his green Ranger cover for my Red Ranger cover, and it is buried over there, and I cannot find it right now. But that reminded me of that. But anyway, things like that were fun. When they killed Johnny Storm, they did the same thing, the black bag, just like the Superman death with the black bag and had the 4 or the 3 logo on it, and the Superman black bag, that's kind of cool. So things like those Power Ranger comics I think are kind of neat. But it is a gimmick, and as long as it's not overused, and if it's used in a really fun kind of way, those Walking Dead covers that they did for the Walking Dead Day, when they did the BVS or the Harley Quinn variants, stuff like that's kind of fun because it's kind of like, it's kind of like, what's going to be in here? So that's kind of neat. Especially because some of those you may have gotten a Chase variant or even a signature and things like that. So that's really cool. Yeah, I pretty much just get cover A only. It may change the market a little bit. Which way, I don't know. I'm totally getting the Batman Who Laughs pop, and I definitely want to get the Dawnbreaker pop. They're both exclusives. So the Batman Who Laughs exclusive is going to be like I think it's like a PX, like previews exclusive, so it'll be available at comic shops and stuff like that. The Dawnbreaker is a Hot Topic exclusive, so I'm going to try to get that because I'm anticipating them doing all of them evil dark Batman. But I feel like they're all going to be exclusive places. But I do want them. I want them all. Well, Conan, we know the variants are one thing, but Conan is going to be in an issue or two of the Avengers No Road Home story arc that's about to start. That is a direct sequel to the Avengers No Surrender story that they did last year. So Conan is going to be in that because in a multiverse, he's there. And if the Avengers travel through a multiverse at times in a story or any Marvel character, they may have the potential to come across Conan. Seems a little silly, but that's fine. The Conan book was pretty good. I liked it. I liked it a lot. I thought it was pretty decent. Yeah, Red Death could. Yeah, they could. It could be very well. Very well. I wonder what I like the idea though that if they're doing them all like exclusives, that's kind of I don't really like that as much, but it is kind of fun. The hunt, the chase, things like that. So that'd be cool. Let's look at what's coming up at DC Comics this week. How about that? Someone just messaged me, said, want to see something that's going to make you drop? What's he talking about? I'll find out after the stream. From DC Comics, we were just talking about him. We got the Batman Who Laughs #2. That is out this week. See, that's got a really nice variant too. DC does some really nice variants. Man, that Catwoman variant's nice too. Man, who was that? So Catwoman #7 is out this week. Detective Comics 996, Electric Warriors #3, Flash 62, Goddess Mode #2, a second printing of Green Lantern #1 in case you missed it. Hawkman #8, which has been seriously such a fantastic book. Oh, it looks like all the variants this week from DC are going to be like close-up headshots. That's really cool. It's really neat. House of Whispers #5, Justice League Dark #7, Red Hood Outlaw #30, Scooby Apocalypse 33, Suicide Squad #50, Supergirl #26, Superman #7, Titans #33, and Wonder Woman #62. And now we'll go look at Marvel. We'll see what they got coming up. Scooby's got a good variant too. I'm about to sneeze. Excuse me. Excuse me. Okay. What's going on here? A Conan Kazar team-up series could be really fun. Why not, right? Oh, Black Widow would, I think, kick Conan's ass. Ben Oliver is a little bit underrated, I think. Catwoman's been fun. I think that the first story arc took a dip at the end. I don't think it ended very strong, but it's still good. I liked it. Marvel Comics this week. We got Amazing Spider-Man #13, Black Panther #8, As Guardians of the Galaxy #5, Black Widow #1, a brand new Black Widow book, Conan the Barbarian #2 is out this week already. Let's see, a bunch of second printings. Fantastic Four #6, which if you read the last issue of Fantastic Four, you're going to be as excited as I am. I am pumped for that issue. Super pumped. Invaders #1. So a brand new Invaders book, but it is by Chip Zdarsky. So that could be cool. Ironheart #2 is out this week. The Man Without Fear #3. Marvel Comics Presents. We were talking about that earlier. #1 is out this week. Marvel Tales Venom with a really cool cover. Those Marvel Tales have been like reprinting things, so that's kind of neat. The Return of Wolverine #4. Just get it over with. Spider-Man Deadpool #44. Star Wars Age of the Republic Special #1. Uncanny X-Men #10. This is the end of Disassembled. And then the Age of X-Men starts. And Venom #10 is out this week. And they got a really cool What If trade paperback collection coming out this week. That's really, really neat. So that's the new comic books coming out this week. What are you excited for? I hope Invaders is good too. I really, really do. We shall see. I have faith. I mean, Zdarsky's been doing some really good work. His Star-Lord miniseries was really, really good. His Marvel 2-in-1 was really good. I hear really great things about a Spectacular Spider-Man run. Really pumped for him to take over Daredevil with Marco Cicchetto. Super pumped for that one. Super pumped. What are you guys looking forward to coming out this week? For me, if I had to pick one title, Fantastic Four #6. I'm a big FF head, and why not? Here's a question I want to present to you guys. A lot of people have found out through PCP Army and just here on the channel at times in the background that I am a huge cereal head. And there are plenty of YouTube channels that do cereal reviews and things like that. And I don't want to do that. But some people have said it would be cool if every once in a while you guys did a video where you review a new cereal. That's something that you guys... Well, the wannabes, the Cowboys not making it, I don't care. No, I'm just kidding. I think that the Super Bowl is going to be the Rams and the Chiefs. Rams over the Chiefs. There you go. I'm basing that on nothing except for preference. I don't know. I have no idea. Rams and Chiefs. I think I don't want the Patriots to win. I think Kansas City can beat them. Saints. I think it's gonna be Rams and Chiefs. Roman, that's exactly why he's I think the perfect writer right now for the Invaders, because the way he references and blends in the past and referencing those stories and things like that. Have a good one, comic guy. I appreciate you digging in. Cowboys did it again. Yeah, but not the way that we typically do. I think we course corrected towards the end of the season when we got Amari. I look forward to next season. Post-serial philosophers. This is being said because some people, especially lately, have been asking me about that. And there's this Sour Patch Kids cereal out right now that I hear really, really bad things about. And I've got a box of it. And I'm probably ever going to only try it once if I had to guess. Because it just doesn't make sense. A sour cereal, but it's so unique and different that I got to try it. But I think the best thing to do would be to try a cereal like that for a video, so at least we can capture that moment. Like, for instance, me and a couple of friends are planning on eating a Carolina Reaper this year at the end of the year. We've been building up to it, training, eating a habanero a day and things like that. But so that would be neat. So we're going to do a video for that. So why not do a cereal video every once in a while, right? Excuse me. But there are plenty of great cereal YouTube channels already. Cereal Time TV is probably my favorite YouTube channel. Absolutely. That does suck, Roman, but sometimes we're jealous of you guys because in Canada, sometimes you have cereals that we don't have. Like you guys had the maple Cheerios a whole year before we had them. And then like South Korea had Oreo O's for years when we didn't have them here in North America. So it's crazy the amount of cereal that's out there internationally in the different flavors and varieties. I really want to get some of them and try them out sometimes. Comic Knight says he wants to read Conan issue 2 because he likes Jason Aaron on this type of title. I agree. Then FF is numero uno. It's got to be good because it's the headliner Marvel needs. Plus, Dr. Doom. Cookie Crisp. I love Cookie Crisp. That is so good. Anytime I hit the States, I always enjoy some exotic cereal. That's awesome. Heck yeah. Are you allowed to take it across the border? Transformers versus Star Trek. Yeah, that book's fun. I stopped reading it. I'm part of this. I get this Eagle Moss Star Trek graphic novel collection thing I subscribe to. So I get 2 books a month. And it's when it's all said and done, I'm going to have hardcovers of every Star Trek comic book ever published. And that's just a dream for me. So I'm really excited about that. And so I decided I would wait and read the full thing when I get that book, because I'll eventually get that probably years from now. I'll probably just reread it though. It's fun. I like how it takes that Star Trek animated series and the Transformers animated series, and that's what's meeting up. And it's not taking itself too seriously, and I really like that. What's up, Roger? How you doing? My weekend was good. I mean, I saw the Cowboys, in their season last night. That kind of sucked. Aside from that, it's been a great weekend. Yeah, some of the limited cereals for movies would be cool to do. They're usually just the same cereal repackaged over and over. Usually just like some kind of corn sweet cereal with like marshmallows. Huh. Oh, I'm totally going to go see Brightburn. Oh, actually, we just did a Patreon video where we talked about the movies we were going to do this year, and I didn't mention Brightburn. When does Brightburn come out? I got to put that on the schedule. We're totally doing that. Totally doing that. Oh, man. I hear really bad things about the pop cereal, Bawana Beast. I have one over there. I got the Red Ranger one. Man, I hear really bad things about it. And so, like, I've been wanting to try it just because I want to open it to get the little Red Ranger pop out of it. But I also just like the idea of having the box there. But there's that Cthulhu one, too, and maybe we should. We should. But they all taste the same, I believe. And I wish they would get a little. They're not. I don't think they're really meant to be good cereal. I guess I don't know. I was at the grocery store today, and I looked at cereal, and I noticed the Trix fruity shapes are back. Nah, man. I like Trix balls. That sounded really weird, didn't it? Yeah, gonna go see Glass Wednesday. Very curious to see the results. That reminds me, let's talk about this real quick. So, movies reviews. We got 3 movie reviews coming out this week because Glass comes out this week. So, tomorrow morning, Unbreakable, me, Jelani, and Brooks talking about Unbreakable. Wednesday morning, me, Jelani, and Brooks talking about Split. It was the first time I saw Split, so that's exciting. And Saturday morning, Glass. So, very, very excited for that. Brightburn's out in May. Thank you, John. I'm going to write that down. When I was looking at my list, it was not on there. And but May was a light month anyway. I think there was Detective Pikachu that we're going to review and something else. I don't know. But yeah, man, I'm really kind of pumped to see Glass. I'm not spoiling my review for Split, but I watched it for the first time a few days ago, and I really enjoyed it. I really, really did. I hear you, Bawana. I'm hearing some bad early reviews for it too. We'll give you our opinion Saturday morning. I don't know what my buddy's trying to show me, so I'll just say yes, because he hasn't showed it to me yet. Well, thank you. I like the Super Glass too. It's my Super Glass. I remember the late 2000s, I went and saw The Happening and then The Last Airbender in theaters, and I was like, I don't know if I can give this guy money anymore. Yeah, I thought the same thing. That Split until a few days ago. But Split was really good. James McAvoy was awesome in that. You guys heard the whole thing about the rumor about how Dark Phoenix has had to spend so much money on reshooting that the budget for the film now is over $200 million? That's terrible. That's terrible. And I hear that it's a bad movie. I hear it's a really, really bad movie. We'll see what happens. We're going to review it. That's in June, I believe, if they finally release it. The death knell, right? Also, I heard today that rumors are that other movies that were in the works by Fox have been shelved. It makes sense. The Disney Fox deal is going through. It's about to be 100% done at some point this year. So Gambit, Doctor Doom, X-Force. I'm surprised about the X-Force one because Deadpool's such a smash hit, but I guarantee you Marvel's going to do something with that. Marvel is going to do something with that. They're probably going to get an MCU Deadpool movie soon. I would recommend seeing Split before Glass because that's where you're introduced to the character that James McAvoy is going to play, and it probably will be pretty essential. I would highly recommend that you watch Split. Highly. You think they just should have sold X-Men back? Oh, well, yeah, before they spent all that money on the... Yeah, I agree. But it will be a finale to the Fox X-Men franchise, which, let's be honest, very like X-Men. I love X2. I do not like X3. I think First Class is good. I really like Days of Future Past. Apocalypse is okay. So that's what I think. But it's going to have to be really, really bad to be worse than X3, in my opinion. Yeah, the deal kept going back and forth, but I really think Disney was pretty strong-armed with they wanted that franchise pretty quickly. Those franchises, I should say. All right, let's see if my buddies messaged me back. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh wow. Oh wow. Oh man. I'm glad I caught that live so I can show it to him and be like, yeah, that was my reaction. My homie just picked up a Fantastic Four #1 today. Whoa. That's pretty dope. That's pretty dope. That's pretty dope. That's pretty dope. Wow, man. Oh my goodness. Too bad I don't have money to offer him to buy it. Jesus Christ. Oh man. Oh man. I actually did message OMG. I did. Yeah, I agree. I think they took a big shit on Apocalypse. I don't think that they really like. What can he do in that movie? What if all you knew about Apocalypse is that movie? What's his power? Oh, he makes wind. I don't understand. He makes dust wind, dust storms. I don't know, something crazy. I wouldn't let me borrow it to read it, David. I have a placeholder in my collection for Fantastic Four #1. My boss got it for me years ago. It's like the very first reprint they ever did. It came with a like a record or something like that. It doesn't have the record, but the book that came with it is an almost perfect facsimile of Fantastic Four #1, and it's a very, very early reprint. So I have that, but I can't be too jealous. I got a first appearance of Doom. I got #5. I got a first appearance of Black Panther. I got a first appearance of Black Bolt. I got a first appearance of Silver Surfer and Galactus. I got a first appearance of Ronan. So, but a #1. Wow. Holy cow. Wow. I'm so jealous. I'm so jelly. Yeah, maybe, but is it Disney stock that they got? Ooh, come on, man. Do you get the recent facsimile of FF #1, or you got the one from the 60s that I'm talking about? Because that recent one that they did when the new FF launched, that's a really cool reproduction of that comic. I also, of course, have the Mighty Marvel Miles, or the Marvel Milestones with the silver trim. Remember those from the 90s? That's how I read a lot of that early stuff. Also, Silver Surfer #1 would be a good one to have. I don't have that one. As far as old school Silver Age key issues, the only ones I really actively collect are Fantastic Four, because I want to finish a Fantastic Four collection. No, I'm afraid to ask him the cost of the Fantastic Four #1. I'll talk to him about that later. Yeah, it's a great reproduction, man. Really cool. So we're about to get into show and tell. It's show and tell Sunday here, which we do show and tell Sunday over at the PCP Army, and I'm very disappointed that nobody did any show and tell today except for me. What is up with that, y'all? Show something from your collection. Comic book, trading card, toy. It doesn't matter. Come on, y'all. First thing I'm going to show and tell is this. Buckaroo Banzai Steelbook Blu-ray. Very excited for this. I noticed on Amazon that it was going out of print. Only 10,000 copies of this Steelbook made. This is a special edition of The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension, which is one of my favorite movies ever. It's super cheesy. It's super 80s, but I love this movie so much. An amazing cast. An amazing cast. Clancy Brown, Jeff Goldblum, Peter Weller is Buckaroo Banzai. Don't forget Christopher Lloyd, John Lithgow. What an amazing, stupid, cheesy movie that I love and adore. I got this in the mail on Wednesday night, and I immediately watched it that night. And I had so much fun with it. I love Buckaroo Banzai. Do we got any Banzai heads here? Please let me know. John Lithgow is amazing in that. What does he say? He says something like, he says when he calls the dude a monkey boy, it's so silly. And he's like, I'm going to speak to John the Big Booty. It's just so freaking fun, man. Awesome. Yeah, I think the Chiefs have a chance against the Patriots because I hate the Patriots. So I think everybody has a chance against them. You haven't missed the show and tell. It's still Sunday. At least in America, it's still Sunday. Just go over there and post something. David knows what I'm talking about. So does Brian A. No matter where you go, there you are. And it's so true. So true. That is, when people all the time ask me questions, pop culture related, right? And one of the ones I get a lot is, what movie should never have had a sequel and what movie should have had a sequel? I would get rid of all the Highlander sequels to have sequels to Buckaroo Banzai, because I still feel cheated out of that. Now, I know that they did some comic books. I haven't read them. I don't know if they're good or not. But man, I have been itching since I was in middle school because I didn't watch this movie when it first came out in the 80s. I didn't even know about this movie until middle school. But I've been itching ever since I was like 13 years old for Buckaroo Banzai Against the World Crime League. And I know I've heard the rumors that they took that script and that's what became Big Trouble in Little China. But man, I wanted so many Buckaroo Banzai movies, man. I wanted so many, 5 at least. Is Kevin Smith doing a Buckaroo Banzai TV show? That could be cool. That could be cool. That's fine. Show and tell includes comic books. See you, Roman. Appreciate you stopping in and hanging out. I don't know if but back in the day, I remember hearing all this stuff about Kevin Smith was going to do a Fletch TV show or movie, and that never happened. So you always got to take what Kevin Smith says with a grain of salt. You do. You do. So now we're going to show off some toys. So this showed off these toys in the PCP Army. So first of all, I'll show you the Lexor 7. I've showed this off so many times. I think I've showed this off at one of my earliest live streams. But I'll show it off again. This is the Lexor 7. This is the ship that I want Scott Snyder and Jorge Jimenez and company to put into Justice League. I've tweeted at them several times throughout the last year or two. I need people to help me with my campaign. Share an image of the Lexor 7 and tag Scott Snyder and Jimenez and Chung, or Chung's not on Twitter, but tag them in it and say, you want to see this. You want to see it in the comic book. I love this thing. So it's got this little claw feature right there. right? It's got little Lex in there. I'll take him out. When I was a kid, man, I love these things because I just love that translucent green on the glass. We'll pull out the Lex Luthor. This was a great figure. When I was a kid, I had this figure, did not have the Lexor. So now I got both of them. You can pull off his little armor right here. Like, it's easier than that. Yeah, like that. So there's Lexi. And you put the armor back on. Such a cool figure. Such a cool vehicle. And one of my favorite things about this is it's powered by kryptonite. And if you open up this little battery compartment, it's got a kryptonite jewel in it. How cool is that? So that's the Lexor 7 right there with a Lex Luthor. A great companion piece to that is one of my most recent acquisitions, and it's the Supermobile. Why does Superman need an airplane? Exactly, but it was the 80s. Who cares? They were selling toys. This thing was awesome. I had this figure and this Supermobile when I was a child. I got the figure not too long ago, a few years ago, actually. So there's my Superman right there. He's got a little bit of, a little bit of the colors have shaved off on his hair, and his Shield S is a little there, but it's still pretty decent. It doesn't really punch as well anymore. He's got a really that looked weird. Same thing with Lex. He doesn't really have anyway. So that's the Supermobile. Superman goes in there. My buddy Chris Paul hooked me up with this. He found a great deal on it on eBay and snatched it up for me. And got these reproed stickers that I put on myself and cut out of the sheet. And I think I did a pretty decent job of getting them on there. That looks pretty dope. So I got it at a really great price, and it all still works. The fin's still there. When you get these things online, you got to watch out for this fin. You got to watch out to see if that still works, the battering ram. So Luthor shows up. He's like, whoa, Superman. And hits him like that. He's also got these like cool little suction things right here, right? And it's got this little thing right there. So what happens is he can come and he can grab up Luthor. Ideally, let's use this hand because it's more flat. So ideally, he can grab up Luthor and like this and drop him off. See, like that. You know, oh, okay. But he also has those things because it's the same concept. He's supposed to like snatch people up and fly them away because Superman needs a jet to do that. But whatever. So there's the Superman and all that stuff. And since I showed Lex getting captured by the Supermobile, let's show Superman. Oh no, it's kryptonite powered. And that, like I said, opens up because it's the same concept. Oh, we've got Superman because it's kryptonite power. So Superpowers is one of my favorite toy lines. It's from like 1984. These figures like have so much to do with my love for comic books, with my love for DC comic book characters in particular. Another thing that was one of my favorite things when I was a kid from the Superpowers line is the Batmobile. There it is, Batmobile with Batman and Robin. So let's pull them out and show them off. These are, I think, in a lot better condition. Well, that Luthor's in really good condition. These capes are pretty nice too, but the action features work a whole lot better on these still. This is, in fact, the Superpowers Robin, not the Toy Biz reproduction of it from the DC Superpowers Toy Biz line in 1989. I do have that figure, and there are obvious differences. But there's the Robin figure. There's the Batman figure. The cape, a little bit more pale. He doesn't really work as much. That Robin is like really, that karate chop action still works on the Robin. These other ones don't work as much, but a pretty decent figure. Whenever you can find these in shape together, it's well worth it. So let's look at this Batmobile, which I think I've showed this off before too, but we always get new subscribers, new people that may have never seen this. So everything on this is very clean and still works. The headlights go up right there, see? Oh, yeah. I love this thing when I was a kid. It's got a battering ram on the front. Superpowers was really into the idea of the battering ram and the claw capture mechanism right there. So, yeah, that's cool. Luthor's coming up. Oh, let me get the Batmobile. Let me get him. Oh, they got me. I'm snatched away. So, yeah, all these. But it's cool that they have those actions. It still works. Really cool. The headlights is a nice little touch. Super fun. I love that they fit in there. It's reminiscent of the Adam West, Burt Ward 66 Batmobile, but it's got its own definitive 80s style. It's from that Superpowers cartoon and toy line. Fantastic stuff. So those are the show and tells I have for you today. Awesome. I can't wait to see your show and tell. Go-Go Power Rangers is really, really good. Do you like the current Green Lantern series by Grant Morrison and Liam Sharp? Not a fan of Kevin Smith anymore. He is the nerd version of Liberace. Okay. He's a fun dude to meet, though. But I get what you're saying. I haven't really liked any of his movies since Dogma. I kind of like Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back for what it is. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad you like it. That's really fun stuff. The original G.I. Joe toy. It was just the one figure, and he had the 6-wheel ATV mobile. That's super, super cool. Super, super cool. So we're going to be wrapping up here in about 10 minutes or so. So any final thoughts or questions, get them in right now. Like I said, I want to point out the movie reviews. We got lots of exciting movie reviews coming this year in 2019 for Pop Culture Philosophers. The next new movie we're reviewing is Glass. That movie review will be up Saturday morning. Tomorrow morning, we're doing an Unbreakable revisit, and we're doing a split review on Wednesday to lead up into it. So very excited for you guys to see that. And then we'll be reviewing more movies, of course, Captain Marvel, the new Terminator movie, Avengers Endgame, Shazam, Hellboy. Lots of exciting titles coming out this year. So any final questions or thoughts, get them in right now, and let's chat a little bit further about comic books. Been really getting into 80 movies lately. I think Heathers is my favorite. I loved Heathers when I was a kid. Why is there a lot of hate for Jay Lee? His last cover for Green Lantern number 3, that cover was awesome. It was amazing. Hellboy is the sheriff from Stranger Things. David Harbour. Brian A. hasn't picked up this week. Really fun stuff. Good comic books. Anybody who did pick up this last week on Wednesday and read those new comics, what was your pick of the week? Mine was Green Lantern number 3. What was yours? The new Lego movie. That is coming out this year, isn't it? That is coming out. I do like Jay Lee. Young Justice number 1 was your pick of the week. I remember you posting that in the PCP Army. That was a great book. It made my top 5 for sure. Comics Misexplained like Die. Die's a pretty cool concept. I'm going to trade weight that one just because it's not a concept that I'm like 100% into. And unfortunately, sometimes I just got to cut books off my list to keep the videos a little bit, the reading list a little bit shorter so the videos come up a little bit quicker. Into the Spider-Verse was one of my favorite movies of the year. It was one of my favorite movies of the year. I loved it. Yeah, Young Justice is really good. Really good. There is a new episode of Comics Revisited this week. It's debuting on Thursday. It's me and Brooks talking about X-Men Age of Apocalypse. Very, very excited. Roger picked up some old school Quasar at his local comic shop. That's super cool. Like the solo title from the 90s? Is that what you're talking about? That's cool. All right, everybody. Like I said, join us over at the PCP Army on Facebook. You can follow me on Twitter at Rockin Robbie. I've been doing these PCP video newsletters for the Patreon subscribers. We have a few. So it's cool little things. I basically treat the patrons over there like they're the board members of Pop Culture Philosophers. And I come to them with full transparency about difficulties we're having or things we're trying to do, things like that. I ask them their suggestions, their input, their advice. And I've gotten a lot of advice from people like Nelson and David especially. I'm very thankful for that advice. It's really helped me. We got some exciting things happening in 2019. And the Patreon supporters are a big deal. Have a big deal to do with that, but so do you guys. Just watching these videos, liking, sharing, subscribing. Once again, it's time for me to tell you to crush that like button, share all that stuff. Reign of Superman. I haven't seen The Death of Superman yet, but Death of Superman is on the DC Universe app, so I'll probably check it out soon. Yeah, that Jay Lee cover on Flash looks awesome. Got a Russian Mickey comic. That's really fun. And a New Mutants 100, the white cover. Super cool. I do remember 3D Man. Do you remember Triathlon, who became the new 3D Man? Flash has been a fun ride. I think so. So be on the lookout for those movie reviews this week. The weekly comic book review late Tuesday night, early Wednesday morning. The Comics Revisited, me and Brooks talking about X-Men Age of Apocalypse on Thursday. Lots of fun, exciting things. Could you mention if an issue you are reviewing on the Wednesday show is a good jumping on point to the series? Love your channel and the work you do on it. It's good to have some more comic book tuber. Absolutely, man. I'll try to be more mindful of that. Flash is my number one with Superman. So, heck yeah. All right. We appreciate everything. I'm rocking out, dipping out, deucing out right now. Like I said, PCP video newsletters available throughout the week on our Patreon page. You can find us at patreon.com/PCP. You can help support this channel and unlock exclusive content for as little as $1 a month. For as little as $1 a month. And David, I have not forgotten your suggestion about us doing some video that's kind of covering the previews. That's a really cool idea that I really, really like. We're probably going to get into that and do stuff like that. But yes, Unbreakable tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. U.S. Central Time. It will be available. So thank you guys so much. We'll see you then. We'll see you for this week's comic book review and all that stuff and more. Thank you guys so much for your support. Please do like, share, and subscribe, and join us at popculturephilosophers.com for podcasts and a whole lot more. We'll be here next week for another Robbie Rants Live on Sunday night, 7 p.m. U.S. Central Time. Thank you guys for rocking with us. Deuces. Peace out.